Hey guys, what's going on? Hey, wanted to talk about something that um, I was talking to my little cousin about. He's my little cousin's only 20 years old, and he was telling me about some challenges that he's having, um, just in general with other guys, right? And I thought it was kind of interesting. I thought it was a good topic for conversation because I kind of schooled him on what was going on with that, right? And um, nowadays they would call something like this toxic masculinity, right? But it's been around for years, and it's just something that guys have to deal with, right? And it's just other guys. I mean, it's measuring dicks. It's guys just being guys. You know what I mean? And what I mean by this is like, I know this has happened to a lot of you, right? It's happened to me definitely. But going into a new situation, right? Going into, whether it be work, whether it be a friendship, situation, just meeting somebody off the street, whatever the case may be, right? There's always this sense of like um, tribalism, right? It's like, this is my territory. Why you here? Who the fuck is this guy? Kind of thing, right? Um, it's kind of interesting because um, there's always some level, right? And it really differs. I remember when I was young, I had to deal with a lot of assholes that, you know what I mean? They just thought they were tough, right? And I grew up pretty street smart, right? I mean, I grew up with a lot of guys in the hood and that kind of shit. So I always had, to some extent, I always had to kind of prove myself, right? And there were some instances where you had to throw hands and you had to get kind of physical, but I would consider that last resort. But there's different levels. So I remember when I was a kid, you know, going to school, going to junior high and high school, that's where I saw a lot of it is, because I went to some ghetto ass schools, right? I mean, so there was always some guy that wanted to test you, you know, and the way he would test you is he would make fun of you or he'd make fun of you in different atmospheres, right? With your friends, around girls, whatever the case may be. And they just talk shit to you. They make fun of, yeah, a lot of people made fun of my job, at the time, right? And, you know, they call me names or whatever. And, basically what I did was I met the moment. So, if somebody gave me shit about some feature on my body, right? I would give them shit about some feature on their body. Like if they said, what's up with your jaw, man? So what's up with those big ass fucking ears you have? You know what I mean? So I met the moment, right? And it was always in a joking, friendly sort of way, right? Because back in the day when I was in school, which was, you know, junior high and high school, 80s, 90s, right? This whole like late 80s, that's when this whole thing started coming out about gang violence, right? You know what I mean? Your Bloods, Crips, you know what I mean? Vadios, that sort of thing, So there was a lot of people out there that you kind of had to hold your ground, right? And if you honestly, quite frankly, if you did it in a confrontational way, not joking, right, then you'd have to throw hands. I mean, you'd have to fight, turn physical. So, you always try to avoid that. You really do. You you say something jokingly, like if somebody says, hey, Rich, what's up with your fucking jaw, your chin or whatever. I'll be like, what's up with your big ass fucking ears, your big ass head, or something like that. You know what I mean? You're gonna talk shit to me, I'm gonna talk shit to you, bro. And you say it in a joking way and you say it fun, whatever. You know what I mean? And if somebody steps to you, say, hey man, you gotta be ready to throw hands, right? You gotta be ready to fight. That's all there is to it. You gotta be ready for the worst case scenario. A lot of times, once it gets to that point, they're gonna they're gonna turn you down, right? They're gonna walk away. But you got to be ready to fucking do that. No bullshit, right? So that's kind of the situation that I grew up in junior high and high school. You know what I mean? And then in high school, it got really bad because that's when all the Bloods, Crips, and all this shit was going on, and people were pulling out guns. Man, I had 2 guns pulled on me, and they wanted to get down, you know, um, and they didn't give a fuck back then. You know what I mean? They were ready to shoot somebody, and they didn't give a shit about the consequences. So you really had to play. It was tough. It was tough back then. You know what I mean? And you had to walk away, especially if they pull a gun on you. You know what I mean? That's just kind of the way it was, right? And then, you beat the shit out of somebody back then, they would come after you. I mean, they'd come for retribution. You know what I mean? So it was really tough back then. Um, so you had to be ready for the worst case scenario. But nowadays, my little cousin is getting shit. He's in a class where a lot of blue collared guys. You know what I mean? And he's they want to fuck with him. He's a big kid, close to 300 pounds, about 6'2". And, you know, when you're tall and big and stuff, they want to see what you're fucking made of, right? So they fuck with him. They joke around with him and stuff. And that happened to my son too, one of my older sons, my oldest son. Uh, I remember one time he came to me and, his mom came to me and says, you know, Mateo's got a problem. And I said, okay, what's going on, And it turned out he was really kind of clumsy, you know what I mean? Didn't have a lot of coordination when he was young and stuff. And I told him, he was playing basketball and they made fun of him, the way he shot the ball and stuff like that. And, I was never a big basketball player. I knew how to play. I was okay, what I mean? I knew how to hold my own, but I mainly played football, man. I was a really bodying motherfuckers, right? Um, but, when my son came to me and he said, this is happening, right? And it's my cousin making fun of me and the way I shoot the ball. I said, okay, just do this, learn how to shoot, learn how to play. If you have somebody that can teach you or whatever, you know what I mean? I can teach you if you want me to. And I think we did, a little bit, not too much. But and then when you learn, just go up and jay in his face. And don't say a word. Don't say nothing. Just look at him and just walk away. Well, he comes to me a couple years later and he said he did that. And he's never had a problem since. Um, so you kind of have to meet the moment. And what I mean by that is like you have to, it's like a tennis match, right? When you're dealing with guys, and then we'll get into the girl part, right? But when you're dealing with guys have a tendency to test you, like who the fuck is this guy, right? I mean, I work in the engineering realm, right? and I'm always on moving from different programs or whatever the case may be. And there's always some level, even engineers, right? They won't body you or you know come up to you like like they want to fight or anything like that. It's nothing like that, but they do look at you like, who the fuck's this guy? Is he smart enough? Does he know his shit? That sort of thing. There's a lot of that going on, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is there's different levels of it. There's the high school shit where you got to be ready to throw down if improve yourself, and then there's the shit at work where who the fuck's this guy? Is he really that smart? Does he know what he's talking about? That sort of thing. You know what I mean? So there's some level of give and take, and really what it is, it's like a tennis match. So like when you get some shit, you give some shit, right? So it's back and forth a little bit, right? And after a little while, they'll give up. They'll stop. You know what I mean? You just really have to be able to prove yourself in a situation like that, and eventually it'll dissipate. And that's what I told him. This guy was giving him shit, and I said, well, give him shit back. It's cool, but do it in a loving, kind way, meaning like smile and joke. You know what I mean? And if he gets butt hurt, say, what, dude, are you fucking butt hurt, bro? You know what I mean? I'm just fucking with you, man. If you can't take a joke, what the fuck, dude? You know what I mean? And that kind of tells you something about them. You know what I mean? And that's a telltale sign, right? If they can't take the joke that they're giving to you, then that's on them. That's their problem. You know what I mean? And a lot of times what happens is when some dude's making fun of you or whatever, they're usually jealous of you. Like there's something wrong, you know what I mean, with them. It has nothing really to do with you. It has to do with them and the shit that they're dealing with, or how they grew up, or the inadequacies that they're seeing on their side. You know what I mean? Um, they're not living up. They're not living up to their potential, right? And they're frustrated because of it. So, when you get shit, do it with love, do it with, what I mean, joking around, smile, you know what I mean? Always be upbeat about stuff, you know what I mean? And just do it in a joking way. You know, when you don't do it in a joking way, then that's when you're leaving yourself open to potential, you know, physical activity, right? When somebody wants to fight you. So that's that piece of it, right? That's just, unfortunately, that's just the way the world works. It's something that all guys are going to have to deal with at some point or another. And you have to learn how to deal with that sort of thing, right? There was a guy that I played golf with the other day. My buddy was down from Phoenix, and there was a guy I was, we got paired up with two other dudes, and one of the guy, he said, "Oh, my name's so and so," and I said, "Oh, hey, my name's Rich," and he goes, "Oh, Dick," and I was like, "What the fuck did you just call me?" And he goes, "Well, Rich is short for Dick, right?" And I said, "Dude, the last guy who called me Dick, I put him in the hospital, man, so I wouldn't go there." Um, and so I said, I wouldn't go that route, bro. He said, "Oh, my bad, man. I didn't mean anything about it. It was just, that's my middle name, and people usually refer to me as Dick." And I said, "Well, that's you. That's not me, bro." So after that, we went on, and everything was cool, and it kind of set the tone for the golf, right? And then, because if I had not done that, I think it would have been a very different day. You know what I mean? So I had to set that tone early. And then at the very end, they were drinking, and the other guy, um, you know, I I have my Jeep, and he goes, "Hey man, you ever take that thing out, for wheeling?" I said, "Fuck no, bro." You know what I mean? I'm not doing that, man. I paid too much for this goddamn Jeep. I'm not gonna get it all scratched up and shit. It's just for cruising, man. That's the way I roll. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? If you don't like it, you're not paying my fucking note. Fuck you. And he said, "Oh, what's up with that, man? You should go out with us. Don't be a pussy like that." And I said, "What?" I said, "You want me to show you my vagina, motherfucker?" You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we'll go at it, bro. You know what I mean? Don't come in my hood and start talking shit. You know what I mean? That's just the way I am. And I'm ready to fucking throw any fucking time, dude. You know what I mean? Let's go. You know? And, do I choose to fight? No, fuck no. Right. But if I have to, we'll get down. But I know self defense. So, you know what I mean? Like, I'll de escalate a situation, you know? So sometimes the point of that, right, is that, I'm not trying to show that I'm a tough guy, but I'm trying to show that I won't put up with your bullshit, right? Don't come over here in my area, right? And try to test me because you're gonna fucking lose. And that's the way I come across, right? So sometimes you just have to hold your ground. You have to do it, and sometimes I was pretty abrasive right there, right? But I met the situation, right? It called for an abrasive type of situation. You know what I mean? Other situations may not call for that. And all you do is you do it jokingly with some, um, not so abrasive. You know what I'm saying? The same thing is with women. Women, you're going to come across where they try to test you. And, in the red pill space, you're going to hear a lot about frame, right? You want to stay in your frame. And that's the thing, right? Like, you want to come to the table with confidence in both situations, right? But then you want to stay in your frame. So if a woman tries to knock you off and say, "Hey, like one time I was out on a date and I was with this fucking smoking ass chick, right?" And she told me, she goes, "Are you a meat eater?" You know what I mean? And I said, "Fuck yeah, I'm a fucking carnivore. I will kill a fucking steak." She goes, "Oh, I don't like that. I'm vegan or whatever." I said, "Well, that's fucking you. That's not me. I will kill a fucking steak." And I was basically in the mind frame of, that's who I am. If you like it, cool. If you don't, you can go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? That's just the way I live my life, right? I'm the CEO of my life. So if you come into my life and want to be part of my life, then you're just gonna have to accept me the way I am, you know? And it is what it is. Like recently, man, I'll share it with you guys. I've had trouble sleeping. I've just been challenged, in that realm. And I think that's what's going on here in my face a little bit, you know what I mean? A little bit of stress, a little bit of not being able to sleep, and just struggling, you know what I mean? I eat right, I exercise, I do all the right things, but I'm just I'm challenged, right? And I did a sleep study, and they told me that I need one of those CPAPs, right? Something to help me breathe at night because I stopped breathing, and stuff like that. And I'm a mouth breather, so therefore, you know what I mean. That kind of shortens your life a little bit and that sort of thing. So a little bit scary, right? So I talked to a couple of guys, a couple of my buddies, right? And they told me that they had a CPAP. And I was like, fuck, man. I was always worried about, first of all, they don't they have CPAPs that have the mask, and then they have ones that just have the nose cannula, right? So that made a difference for me. I don't want to wear a mask. I can't put anything on my fucking face. It bothers me, right? but a nose, that's not really that big of a deal. And then the actual machine is real quiet and it's small, right? So those are two positives, right? But the other thing is too is like, what if I were to bring home, a young chick, you know what I mean? I mean, these chicks will dump you for like anything, right? Um, and that's just the way the world works now. You know what I mean? Everybody's social media, so everybody has a short attention span, and they think the grass is always greener somewhere else, right? Well, it is what it is, right? So, but at my age, what I've realized is that sleep is way more important. You know what I mean? I need to stay sharp for work and that sort of thing. And what's been happening is like I I I kind of dip down during the day, and you know what I mean? Like it's a struggle for me. And I eat really good, man. I eat really healthy. I exercise every single day. I do something to keep myself fit, right? And so I tried all the natural alternatives to cure my sleep apnea, but unfortunately those aren't working. And my two buddies that have the CPAP, they said it's a game changer, man. You feel so much more rested during the day. No need for naps, no need for nothing, right? You don't dip. So I was like, I started really thinking about it. I was like, and then the trade-off between, okay, if I were to bring a young girl home, like say, mid to late 20s, maybe early 30s, would they think it was weird kind of thing, you know what I mean? And oh my God, I'm dating an old guy kind of thing, you know what I mean? Because you kind of associate those types of things with being heavy or being older, you know what I mean? That those are old type problems, you know what I mean? But I'm at the point right now where I don't give a fuck anymore. And it is what it is. And the way I feel about it is like I bring somebody over and they see that, I'm like, well, if you can't deal with it, then bye. You know what I mean? Because sleep is way more fucking important than you. So I'm gonna get some sleep, and I'm cool with chicks leaving. You know what I mean? Let's do our thing. Let's have fun. Let's be intimate, whatever the fuck. Then get the fuck out of my house. You know what I mean? And if somebody really cares about me, then they're going to like every aspect of me. And that's just kind of the way it is, right? But chicks will test you and they'll probably give me shit about that. They give me shit about my age sometimes, you know what I mean? And I'm like, well, hey, man, I can do a lot of things that the younger kids can't, you know what I mean? So, sometimes experience is everything. You know what I mean? So I say shit like that and I joke around and I own who I am. That's the big thing, right? You're out in a situation where you're with other dudes and they're giving you shit, or you're out with the chick and they're giving you shit. Own who you are, man. Don't fucking change for them. A lot of us as being guys, we change to appease our environment, and that's absolutely the wrong way to go. So the big takeaway from here, man, is like really own who you are. Be confident in who you are, and trust in who you are. Become who you want to be, right? Work out, lift weights, um, do the right things, eat right, you know what I mean? That drink a lot of water and that sort of thing, and try to minimize your you know your stress. Obviously I'm not minimizing it because it shows on my face and fucking sucks, um, but it is what it is. And I think the lack of sleeping because I'm stressed, that sort of thing. But I had some conversation. I can talk a little bit about my level of stress and how I deal with it in later videos. But um, the thing is you really have to own who you are. If you're going bald, shave your head. You know what I mean? Own it. You know what I mean? Like Jason Statham. The Rock. They don't give a fuck. They just own who they are. You know what I mean? Um, and have a lot of confidence in yourself, and don't bail just because somebody's making fun of you. You know what I mean? Um, Stay true to yourself and believe in yourself. Um, I don't know, just a little something I was thinking about, man. Hopefully you're doing better. I know I will be doing better. I've had some conversations that kind of lowered my stress level, but I'll talk a little bit about that in later videos and stress and just things of that nature. But I hope that helped, guys, and I hope you have a fantastic weekend. And we will talk to you later. Peace.